right, greetings everyone. Neil Giraldo here. We're here for Three Chord Conversations, and this is the first episode in our music ambassadorship program through Three Chord Conversations, where we're going to be talking to various writers, songwriters, musicians, actors, all different kinds of creative people out there in the universe are going to come and hang out with us and talk about conversations of life and whiskey and everything that's right and good in the world. And even if there isn't good stuff in the world, we're going to be talking about that too. So anyway, May 16, 2016, Steel Bending Spirits 3-Chord Bourbon was born, and part of its infancy stage was a very fundamental part of the company was a music give back program. Hence we called it a music ambassadorship program, where we meet with different musicians, like I said earlier here, where we talk to them and we help them understand that in order to be a successful musician, unfortunately, you have to have the word business after music, because if you don't have any kind of business skill at all, you're going to be ending up writing songs and playing music in your garage and never actually get out there where you need to be. Unfortunately, when you are a writer, creator, musician of any sort, or actor, writer, I'm just going to use that as a general feel for this whole conversation, is you work on one side of the brain, but you have two sides, left and right. So if you only work on one side, the left side, say, you can't deal with the right side, which is administration, organization, and things, because you have to, in order to write, you need to kind of go off to that one side, and you forget about all the administration and things you need to do. So it's very important. So in this program that we have, we're out to introduce musicians to various people, teach them the skills of using their craft and the business behind that. So anyway, that's a music ambassadorship program. As well, we've done tip jars during the COVID days, and various things, 3-chord stages we do across the country, and our growing list of music ambassadors is a growing list, and we're getting more every day. So that's a fantastic thing. So I'm going to introduce to you, we call him the Music Ambassador Czar. He's got a title. Everybody in 3-Chord Bourbon, Steel Bending Spirits gets a title and a job, and they stay in their lanes, and that's it. And this particular person we're going to talk to, he is our Czar. Bass Reeves is a very interesting guy. So he wrote a song called If You Ignore the Truth. Now, 3-Chord Bourbon and Harlan Howard, with his great saying of 3 chords and the truth, we call our whiskey, as you can see back here, we call it 3-Chord Bourbon, not 3 chords bourbon, because it didn't quite sound right. But we give our honor to Harlan Howard for coining that phrase, because that really is the truth. You know, you got 3 chords, you could take those 3 chords, write a song, you can write hundreds and thousands of songs. Anyway, so Bass Reeves, I'm going to introduce him in a minute, but he's got an interesting life. So he wrote a song, like I said, If You Ignore the Truth. It's a very cool song. And he's just a guitar player that picked up a guitar and started writing songs and wanted a career in music. He's a very successful businessman. He's done a lot of different things. I have a whole list of stuff that he's done, but I'll let you hear him talk about this. And some of these things are interesting because they mirror a lot of my early days of my career as well. So anyway, that's it. So let's bring Bass Reeves into our capsule here. Bass, come on in, buddy. Come on in. Bass. Oh, Bass, where are you? We're looking for Bass. There he is.
Hey,
Greetings.
nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You. Yes,
Nice to see you too. How you been, Bass?
I'm good, Neil. I'm real good.
All right.
Yourself?
Yeah, pretty darn good, thanks. Yeah,
That's good.
this is
It's
good.
great.
I'm glad we're doing this. This is a great thing. So
I am too. I've been looking
yeah,
forward to it for a long time, as you know.
yeah, it's fantastic. So now you're going to explain it to everybody what the music ambassadorship program is about, as well as give your details of some of the stuff you did in your career as well, because that's important. And I already told people on the introduction about Three Chords and the Truth. If you ignore the truth, and that was a brilliant song you wrote. So let's
Well,
let's start talking.
well, yeah, and let's remind people that one of your fundamental ideas, and which was one of the things that really drew me to get involved with your organization was, well, there were two things. One, you wanted to do something to give back, and we'll talk about that with the musical ambassador program, but also the idea of having a conversation and utilizing. I'm going to toast to you with my favorite expression, the strange collaboration. Let me tell you something. This stuff is unreal. I love it. Um, the Pinot expression in it is so subtle and beautiful. But I salute you, my friend.
Salute,
You got a
salute.
great idea to start this company, and the fundamental ideas of it are great. But the other reason that I'm saluting you with this particular expression is because of your support of the Parkinson's Foundation through
Absolutely.
it.
You bet.
My mother suffered from Parkinson's.
Wow.
I spent, as my close friends know, 10 years seeing her through that final part of her life while she suffered from that disease. So anyone who can help support that, find a cure for it, hopefully someday, it's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Salute,
Salute,
salute.
salute, my brother. Salute.
Salute. I'm going to do a little tap. Salute.
Uh, to follow up on, the giving back part of it, we've been organizing, as you know. I think people are starting to understand the idea of finding people who are involved with music and need to move forward and learn other skills to survive in this complex world that we're living in.
Yep.
We're doing that, and we're finding people out there and bringing them into the family, giving them instruction, giving them opportunities to earn and to collaboratively work with us so that everyone rises with their success. Details of that are spreading. We're getting the word out. We're finding great people out there who really want to buy into it, who understand your idea, your concept, which is what we're supporting.
Oh,
And I when we talked about bringing musical artists into this conversation, and you asked me to do this, number one, I was honored to be able to be the first doing this, and I thought very hard about what song I would like to discuss.
right.
And I chose "If You Ignore the Truth," which is a song that I wrote, and you'll understand this, I'm sure, because you were there. This was written in the late 70s when I was in Los Angeles, in that crazy period of time when all kinds of things were happening. And I wrote this song for a young woman I knew who was rising in the entertainment business, and things were happening to her that were not wonderful, being taken advantage of, and I warned her about that. And I only really intended for this song ever to be heard by her, and it was a warning about understanding what the truth is, and if you ignore it, it'll the tagline in this, the part of the meaning of the song is, if you ignore the truth, she'll find a way to stand in front of you. You won't be able to get away from it. And this was about a woman's experience in that milieu of Los Angeles and the entertainment, film, music, and TV. I was mostly involved in the television world back then. But I saw things happening, and over time, and this song is over 40 years old, I didn't ever think of recording it. But back in 20 years ago, when I first decided to do this particular album, it found a life of its own. People kept saying, man, you got to do something with this tune. You got to do something with this tune. And it became the title track of this album.
Right.
And I don't
It's
know.
interesting, with the title, if you ignore the truth, really is a definition of integrity. So really, it's really important.
Yeah. Well, yes, and I think more than ever now in the world that we're living in. Um, People are seeking the truth. And this is another thing. I have a kind of secret theory about why bourbon has become so popular, because it's exploded, especially in recent times. And I think that it is the search for authenticity. Bourbon is an authentic expression of Americanism.
Correct.
And I think that it's an underpinning. People more and more I get involved with people who are either knowing about bourbon or learning about bourbon. You get below the surface and you have conversations with them.
There you
And
go.
that's what you find out. They're all kind of looking for the same thing, and they're looking for what we're doing right now: getting together with a buddy, hanging out with friends, having a bourbon, talking about stuff that's real.
Correct.
You
Now,
know,
the fundamental part of the company and this system that we're inside, that everybody's part of with this company, is to create that conversation. When in the very beginning, when I said that I think I want to start a spirits company, I won't get into that now because that's a whole different discussion. But I chose whiskey because I wanted conversation with people. Not that there's anything wrong with drinking tequila and vodka and gin and jumping on tables if that's what you want to do, but that's not what I'm talking about. I wanted people to put away their phones, put away their computers, other than watching us right now, of course. Put those down and have a conversation, have a real heart to heart or a fun, laugh, sad conversation. So that's exactly, and that's what a song really is. You're trying to write a 3.5 minute, 4 minute conversation from beginning to end, like a whole life.
yes, and if I would,
Lifetime.
to give me a moment, maybe people will understand how it came out. It's
Yes.
really a message to someone. But as I've said, it's grown. It's gotten a life of its own. Um, this was recorded and released in 2002, and I still get emails every day from people all around the world who are discovering the song. It's
That's
quite
fine.
incredible. It really is, because it does speak to something that's very universal.
Correct.
Again, I was looking at one person, and people keep chuckling at the first line, but it's "Hello, Chicky Boom Boom. I see you crawling across the razor blade." Someone was like balancing on a very, very fine edge in a
Hmm.
world that back then was, there was a lot of stuff going on. Everyone wanted to get ahead. People were making decisions that may not have been in their best interest.
Same happening today. Same thing
What
today.
happened today? Are you looking for that deal? Are you still trying to get it made? When you crawled across the floor of broken diamonds, when you looked at all the other people who had tried and failed, you know, did you see the shining of your star? Did you feel tranquility? When I was writing that, I remembered the song that was kind of in the background was,
Hmm.
do you know the way to San Jose?
Hmm. Sure.
Um, Going back to San Jose, I want to find some peace of mind in San
Yeah.
Jose. LA is a
Yes.
great big freeway. Put 100 down and buy a car. Maybe soon
Yeah.
they'll make you a star. And it didn't happen to a lot of people.
A lot of
Got
people. Yep.
got a lot of people got crushed, and so I was trying to get that message across. In this particular case, it didn't really work. I saw this person, and it's a person whose name you would recognize, someone who was involved and was moving forward in that industry then. Um, and a lot of bad things happened to her because she wasn't willing to listen to the truth. But
Correct.
that is something that I'm trying to get across with this song and in these conversations. Let's look for what's real, what's authentic. Um,
Well, there's an important thing to mention too, as well. That people's dreams sometimes fall short, right? But that doesn't mean the end of the world. And this is part of these conversations and things that I teach young people all the time, every age, not just young people, is that there's a lot of different opportunities in every career you have, and you could still live a dream inside that format. Just because maybe you didn't hit the dream of playing in front of 30,000 people on stage, there's all different ways to create a dream inside the music business or any creative endeavor. So that's all positive stuff, and that's stuff we like to teach
Yes,
out there as well.
you've given me an example of that, and I've used it. I've quoted you actually a number of times when you use the golf analogy. People,
Yeah.
not everyone can become a playing pro,
Nope.
but you can be a designer. You can do something else in
Right.
the golf world. And I say that to people all the time. You maybe you're not going to be a rock star, but maybe you can do. Look, I never thought I was going to be a rock star. I always knew I had a talent for writing.
Right.
And so I concentrated on that, and I never felt
Awesome.
like I lost out on anything by not being famous or having all the accolades that some people want and get. You can do other things and be satisfied
Of
and have
course.
a career. So
That's
I
part
try
of
to,
the music ambassadorship program is to teach these folks. Like in the introduction that I used before you came on, it's really important that we talk to these people and educate their business sense, and to find those ways to have a career and things, and help out rather than just giving them money. That
well,
ain't going to do the trick.
that's exactly right, Neil. And we've talked about this many times. Helping people become more entrepreneurial in their attitude towards being involved. I always give the example. If you have an association with Chord, if you become an ambassador, that gives you leverage to pick up the phone. And I always say, call the potato chip company. If you're going to be with us on the stage,
Mhm.
other people are going to be interested in helping you out, and that's a way of accentuating your ability to make a living.
You're
And that's
worth it.
really another fundamental truth of the ambassador program. So
Correct.
I want to continue to do that,
Hmm.
because if you ignore the truth, you'll find
Correct.
a way to stand in front of you. So you keep pounding at what is true, what's real, what's authentic. And some people don't get it. Some people, they want to live in some other kind of reality, and you can only do so much. But there are people out there who are really buying into this and understand it
Sure.
and
Of course.
taking advantage of it. They're hungry for it, really.
Hmm.
And especially now, because things have opened up a little bit, but I think that we're kind of getting the idea that maybe we need to still be careful about things out there, and there
Of
may be
course.
some things that are not as possible as we thought they might be, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks ago. So
Sure. Of course.
that's what it's all about. But again, the fundamentals of what you want it to do, and I keep saying to people, have a conversation, get together, talk about real things, especially, you and I, we have lots of friends who are musicians and actively involved, who have been cut off from many things, and living in a way that we are now, like, they're Zooming with people and talking to people and FaceTiming people and da 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 da. But you can still have meaningful dialogue and meaningful conversation and elevate each other, by paying attention to what's real.
That's the point of being in bands. You'd pick musicians and players that are great players, but it's the sum of all the parts. Everybody's importance, even a bass player. Bada boom. Everybody's
Of
important.
course.
I'm kidding, because there was this great bass player named Chucky DeMonico, and to me, he was God. Everything he said was like scripture. I mean, he was like the greatest musician I've ever known. Anytime he'd say anything, I remember him telling me early on, he goes, "You gotta play golf. You gotta play golf." And I'm thinking, wait, you're a musician. When do you have time to play golf? I thought musicians are just musicians. Oh, no, you gotta play. But this guy was a genius. So I was making a joke when in reality, the greatest musician I've ever known that I've worked with, Chucky DeMonico. Brilliant. And he passed away, sadly, because he smoked too many cigarettes. And I told him every time we take a break, he wanted to take a break. I says, "Don't take a break to smoke, Chucky. Stay here." So,
I know a few people
yeah,
like that too.
yeah, it happens. So,
It happens. But the other thing I was thinking about, and tying up with the strange collaboration, because I do want to um, help with the truth of that.
yeah.
I'm connected. I love this expression as an expression,
Right.
but also because it has that aspect of you wanting to help out the Parkinson Foundation.
Right.
So if there's a way that we can, work something out with, if you ignore the truth and have people make a donation or do something like that, I'm happy to be a participant in that. Maybe we can find a way to do that. It would be my pleasure to help with that. Really would.
Yeah, that's fantastic. There's a lot of causes out there. People need a lot of help, and there's a lot of health issues. Not only people that are aging, but people that are young, and anything we can do to give back to help all those folks. And musicians, whew, you know, I remember my Uncle Sam saying to me once. He said, "You know what? I've thought every way possible to not work for a living." He says, "Don't be a musician." I said, "Uncle Sam, I was born to be a musician." That's the way it is. He didn't realize how much work you have to do.
Well, my father and I always butted heads about me being in the music business. He was not ever for it.
Correct.
And we finally were able to work it out. And he
Yes.
asked me very pointedly, he said, why do you want to do this? I mean, why do you want to be a songwriter?
Yeah.
And it kind of goes to this song. He said, Dad, it's honest. When I get up there, or, I'm working on it, you can't fudge it. You either are doing it or you're not. And there's
Correct.
something about that has always driven me, that the truth of that.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people that are successful in so many things, but I look at them and go, sorry, but it's not who you really are. It's not real. It's not authentic. For me, this was authentic and real, and it made me feel, complete, really.
Correct.
And it also created in that situation where, I butted heads all the. And once he heard that and kind of got it, really, really, really did. So he couldn't ignore the truth anymore either.
No, no, it's because it's a real thing. It's a real life thing. And everything, every part, every channel of Three Chord Bourbon and Steel Bending Spirits is I try to really enforce the fact of everybody in the company to really be themselves, be honest, have integrity, do the best you can. We're all in this together. During the COVID, when it started, we didn't drop people. We didn't let people go. We had a furlough for a short time, but we brought them back because I think every one of the people that we have working for us are all stars. They're all brilliant. They all do a great job. And they have to, in this company, you have to have the same mindset. And you got to help others. You got to be good. I say it all the time. You got to be good to one another. Respect the moment. It's really important. Respect the moment. I was thinking about this the other day, too, because I know a lot of young musicians. And I remember so often that take, when you would record a take, you do 4 or 5 in a row, whatever, and you do it, and you come into the control room and you listen and you go, that's it. We hit it. There was that special moment. And to the left of that, like if it's take 5, take 4, not even close. Take 6, light years away. But that moment, but today, they don't always capture that moment. You're going to sing and they go, I'll put auto-tune on me, or, here, I could fix that and this guy will fix that. There's one band, I'm not going to name the name, that had, when Pro Tools first came out, which is a digital software for people that don't understand what that is, they each had a guy in the studio that did their part. So they would play, they'd go out of the room, and they'd come back, and each one of those guys fixed every single thing that those guys played. And when I found that out, I just went, wait, something's missing here. So the reason I mention this, because everybody in the company, we want to be we don't want that person to be controlled by some other like machine. We want it to be moments and relationships.
Well, yeah, press record when you get into the studio, because you never know what you're going to miss.
No, well, as a producer, every time I go in, I go, let's just run through this. I don't care, and I always press record. So, and that's usually a great thing.
There you go. I agree, because I know many of the people in this company, and they're some of them for a very long time, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. You got a great team around you, and you make a great product. But again, I always come back to, because it's what motivates me, and it comes back to the truth of things, is that having a conversation, doing good things, lifting people up, having a good time with making a business work. Yeah. Sounds like a winning combination to me, and that's what I'm happy to help out with.
Well, you are the czar. You are our music ambassador czar. So you got a big job ahead of you. So I'm sure you're going
to. I haven't gotten that big furry hat yet. Where is that thing?
Well, the way your hair looks right now, you're going to need a hat. I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything about that haircut you got, but
I am. Look.
Need a hat.
I am so honestly so honored to be a part of this, and have felt so connected to it from it's going on almost 3 years for me, and it just is. It's the right thing to do. At this point in my life, I'm so happy to have this to do. Really,
yeah. Well, thank you.
It's a great thing for me to be involved in. I'm so happy to be involved with it.
You're the great man for the job.
All along to make sure that people don't ignore the truth.
Correct.
Because I'm a guy who, like, when I see people moving away from it, you can count on me to say, this is the truth.
Get
Pay
closer.
attention, do it right. Take an extra time, make sure you're getting it right, and don't ignore the truth, because she will find a way to stand in front of you. She will.
You got to. Well, that's it. So in moving forward, when more people have questions and things, they'll be able to reach out to us. They'll be able to reach out to you. You can answer their questions for other people that want to join the program.
Yeah,
You can.
look, I'll give you my. I'm happy to give out my email address. If people have questions, you can email me directly at bassreeves.com,
Mhm.
bass@bassreeves.com, and I'm happy to answer the questions and get you involved. There's more coming soon as things move forward. But bass@bassreeves.com. Happy to help you. We've got people that are looking for other people. We've got a network developing all over the country.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's fantastic. You're doing a
gonna be
great
fun.
job. I mean, it's a great program. I'm super excited about it, and it's really working out. And the other thing too with this is that if once they join, someone joins the music ambassadorship program. It's work. It's going to be work, and you're going to help get them to focus and do what they have to do. But if they have questions, they can always get a hold of me to do that too. Through you, we can work that out, and I'll answer questions because I'm happy to help anyone. And I'm going to mention one thing before we close this out. It's interesting because when I was reading your bio stuff, and it was funny because you had you were offered a publishing contract, and I'll tell you why this is kind of funny to me. And it was a $500 deal. And you were expecting you should at least get 10,000 for it, so it didn't quite work out, right? It didn't work out. So, in 1979, I wrote a song, and I was trying to get a publishing deal, and they offered me $500, and they wanted to own the song.
Yeah.
And I said something about this doesn't feel so right.
Right. Yeah.
And, I'm naive. I'm like 22 years old. I just want to be in the music business. I'm just about ready to do it. And I go, I think there's something off here. So the record company I was with gave me a $10,000 deal. And when I left the office of that person that wanted to give me 500, says, you'll never write another song, unless you take this deal. So 100 songs that are published and successful, and
Well,
more than that at this particular time. So
yeah,
it worked out. It worked out pretty good.
worked
But
out well for you.
I got lucky. I got lucky because I didn't have somebody. I just went on a gut feeling. I didn't have somebody to be able to say, because it was tempting. I didn't have somebody to say,
Of course.
there's something better here. Because that's what happens to those young players. They get in, and then the agents and the managers get behind. Well, you'll never get to do anything. You just sign with me for 25. We're trying to prevent that. Let people do it themselves. And
The ambassador program is going to help people get through some of those tough times. But that particular deal, I had already written for 7 network TV shows.
Mhm.
I was already wise enough to know what a bad deal looked like.
Yeah,
And
you
so,
did. Yeah, I didn't.
I don't have any regrets about walking away from that thing. Although it was a big company and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, I don't. And I've remained independent ever since. And so I will tell you that I am very much an adherent to if you ignore the truth, it will stand in front of you. I don't ignore the truth, and
Well,
I'm so glad that I really. Because the truth is that you founded this company for the right reason, and that really, really, really has sunk into me from the time I started getting involved with you guys, and that's the flag that I'm carrying forward. Really, is that this makes sense. It's a good company, great product, and it's doing all kinds of good things.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
let's
Well, I'm
continue.
glad. Well, thank you, Bass. We're honored to have you. So
No, Neil, really.
this is a. I know you've been saying this since you jumped aboard. When you just started coming to some of the meetings, still learning. You always told me the reason why you're involved is because of the meaning behind this, and that is really who we are about. Our not just me. When I say me, it's not me. It's every single person.
Well, but you started and it's permeated throughout the entire organization, and that's what makes it drive forward. So let's keep driving and moving forward. That's all we can do.
Onward, like you say,
Onward.
And I usually say "ho" at the end of it. So
There you
I
go.
mean,
That's
we're
right.
completing the sentence. All right. Well, listen, Bass, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend.
Yep. Thank you.
Tell me what size your head is, and I'll buy you one of those Czar hats for you. So you can.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thanks.
All
See you
right.
later.
Ciao. See you
Bye.
later. See you, everybody. So long. Bye.